Okay, so
We're back.
wow, man, it's been like what 4 or 5 days since I've seen you.
It's been a while.
I mean, or no, you've just been at my house. That's why we're in the same clothes, right? You've just camped over.
Yeah, I only had one set, so this is.
Yeah, no.
And so anyway, this is part 2 of our once a month, every other month, whatever it is, special.
We make the rules. No one comments. So
yeah, pay no attention to the man behind the drapes.
Anyway,
so we said in the last part we talked a little bit about baseball and football. We'll start with baseball first because we've been doing it ad nauseum for the last few episodes leading up to the playoffs, but this is our first time really talking about it together. So.
Yes, and we only know up to the Astros beating the Red Sox. I was going to say Indians, but I'm like, no, that's what the Yankees are.
You were just watching that game when I came in.
Yeah. So we only know up to the Astros beating the Red Sox, Altuve hitting 3 home runs because we're recording this Thursday, October 5th.
So inevitably you can comment that if any of your opinions are wrong of who won and who lost in the comment section. Because we would know by the time this is uploaded, but not when we're recording.
But it'll make for a good breakdown afterwards, giving it a nice week to digest the whole series.
Yeah. So what do you think about that game with our
Twins Yankees?
Yeah, Twins Yankees, the Colorado and Arizona.
I've been telling people I'm glad I went to the movies Tuesday. Because I would have turned it off after that first half inning. I would have been like, nope, done, can't watch this. But Sir Didi Gregorius.
Well, it wasn't just Didi. It was Brett Gardner. It was Aaron Judge. It was everyone in the bullpen not named Dylan Betances.
Which might be a good thing because then you have a fresh arm for tonight.
Then again, you still have the lingering questions about his September performance.
Yes.
But the thing is, they don't care about that right now. They don't have Robertson. They don't have Chad Green. They'll have Aroldis Chapman, but he pitched a good deal. So
and also the fastest pitch in the playoffs.
Yeah, which will probably be surpassed by the time his career is done.
Probably.
And then you had the Diamondbacks, Arizona, where you had
they're up 6-0. Then it was like 6-5.
You had Archie Bradley hit that double into a triple and then give up 2 home runs the next half inning. But the home teams prevailed.
Yes, they did.
You don't have anyone.
The Yankees didn't do against Houston a few years back.
Oh, don't remind me. That's why I said I wanted Boston to face Houston first, and it looks like I was right.
Yep, 8-2 win, facing possible MVP Altuve.
Yeah, only in baseball would the tallest guy in baseball be jockeying for MVP with the shortest guy in baseball.
Yeah, I always tell people I'm 6'5".
Wow, 5'6". What am I then?
You're 12'3". No, I'm the same height as Altuve. We both play second base. I bat lefty. He's right-handed, although I can switch a little bit. But had I bulked up, I'd be his weight, and I hit for contact. Had I bulked up, I probably would be able to hit a little bit more power, and probably could have been him, but bad shoulder blade.
Yeah.
But anyway,
pause you up. We're still good.
Okay.
So the division series upon us now, and neither of us will have any time to comment in our own episodes with the specials going on. So let's do a quick rundown of the 4 series. Houston and Boston. We already saw Houston's up 1. Chris Sale in his postseason debut was less than satisfactory. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Well, remember, he was on the White Sox.
Yeah, the White Sox won in 2005 with Canerco.
Their last playoff appearance was 2008, I believe.
But I'm saying they won the World Series in 2005.
But they've had a lot of rough years.
Yeah, and then they went a little downhill, and then the Twins were up. So
but anyway, you had a Jose Altuve with the 3 home runs. So is this a sign of things to come? Do you think that Houston will take the series?
I think so. I don't think Boston's ready enough.
Yeah.
Had the Yankees not had that horrendous beginning after the All-Star break,
it would have been us.
All those blown saves, the Yankees would have had 110 wins this year, maybe more.
But they would have also had to face Houston most likely.
Yeah, they would have had to face Houston. But one of the things I don't really understand is had the Red Sox lost all their games and the Yankees won all their games, the remaining games, why would they have to have that one-off playoff game? Why isn't it just head-to-head?
It's
have
no
that in
longer.
football
It's
and
because of the
everything
new CBA that it's now, if it's the division, that it's a one-game winner-take-all. Winner of the regular season series host the game, and then that loser had to go face the wild card.
But I don't understand why the players would agree to that. I feel like that would be like way worse.
I don't know. You see that coming up with a lot of people saying that the one-game format for the wild card is bad. You've had that ever since it came in, and that people want to move it to a best-of-3 series. Maybe it's 3 games at the first wild cards. Maybe it's a 2-1, a 1-2. Excuse me. Sorry, but
maybe just play a doubleheader.
Maybe, but yeah.
Make a shortened version. Play like a doubleheader one day of like 7 innings, and then play the next day if necessary 7 innings. I don't know.
Perhaps. All right.
Probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Washington and Chicago. So the defending World Series champs against what's turned into a really good all-around team after their bullpen woes of the first half of Washington. Who do you think out of that?
I want to say Washington because they're definitely the better team, but the Cubs just won a World Series last year. Joe Maddon's probably the best manager in baseball.
He has I believe the second most wins in the postseason by an active manager after Bruce Bochy of the Giants.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal manager. You've got some great young talent. You got leaders like Anthony Rizzo on that team, and now that they've won the whole darn thing and come back from a 3-1 series deficit, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cubs did win it, but I'm going to go with the Nationals.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Nationals too because
it might be 5 games. Though.
Yeah, it's going to be 5 games, but I believe with that rotation, which you have Max Scherzer, Strasburg, you have Gio Gonzalez having a career year against a staff that hasn't performed as well as last year. Good, but not great. And an offense that's sputtering in some places. I think that Washington will advance to the championship series. And will they face the Dodgers or will they face the Diamondbacks? I have an inkling to say the Diamondbacks because they were part of that September collapse for the Dodgers, sweeping them. And I think they match up really good against the Dodgers.
I think if the Dodgers didn't have to play the Diamondbacks, they would be the team to be. I think they would beat the Nationals and the Cubs.
Right.
But we saw the Mets make the World Series a couple of years ago. I said if the Cubs were going to be the only team that was going to beat the Cardinals, and had that happened, the Mets were going to beat anybody else with that pitching staff that they had, and it'd be their World Series to lose. And that's exactly what happened. And I think the Dodgers are that team that the only team that's going to beat them are the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to. So I think it might be Diamondbacks, Yankees, or I want Washington, Yankees.
Maybe. And speaking of Yankees, that brings us to our last series, which is starting tonight. Which is not tonight as in when this is uploaded, but when we're recording it.
A week ago.
Yeah, I have the thing that they need to win Game 1 badly. Yes. They're going to lose at least 1 to Kluber if it goes to best of 5.
Yes.
And I would rather have it be the first game rather than the second. If they lose the first and the second games, I believe there is no way for them to come back in the series.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting series. They did blow out of the bullpen because Severino couldn't handle that. But
that bullpen will come out fresh
tomorrow. That bullpen will be fresh for that second game. And if this showed anything with that bullpen, is if you can get the starting pitcher to the 5th, maybe even the 6th inning, 7th would be great and fantastic. But you've got all these arms, they could be rested, so you could have David Robertson pitch 6th, 7th, and 8th inning if needed on one night, and then say Betances and Green, Shreve, or whoever else you want on there. for the next night.
Yeah. On the flip side, you have our old friend Andrew Miller, who's dealt with some injuries this year, but could come out of the bullpen and be a weapon. And then you have Corey Kluber, who's like Dallas Keuchel of the Astros, has been a bugaboo in recent years. So I'm going to say I want to say it goes to a best of 4.
Yeah.
To who, I don't want to say right now. Just because it could honestly go either way. Out of all the 4 series, this one could go either way.
Yeah, this one's definitely going to be the hardest one. And I think the winner of this series is probably going to make that World Series. Because I like the Astros. Verlander's a very good addition to that pitching staff, I think. To give sort of like a veteran sort of...
Yeah. Well, you saw that today.
He's been on some good teams with the Tigers, and I think he can sort of help the Astros, but I don't think the Astros are going to get by.
Yeah.
Pitching wins championships, and they are
but
heavy offense.
Yeah, but clutch hitting does win championships.
Clutch hitting does win. But
I'm going to disagree and say that the Astros go to the World Series. Will they win? That's another thing. All right, and now moving on from a sport that's ending its run to one that's just beginning, and the NFL is having a really rocky start this year. Now, I know we said that after the end of September we weren't talking about politics and sports. Obviously, we underestimated the Twitter handle of our president to cause something.
I mean, even South Park had a thing where they had the joke for the president there, Mr. Garrison, to put his phone down to stop tweeting. Yeah. And it's... but some people think it's really annoying. Other people think it's quite hilarious, and that people who are reacting to that are just fueling him. Yeah. Which then, on the outside looking in on that point of view, I'm just like, this is actually now kind of funny that these people are arguing about.
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. No. What we're talking about is how that has caused ripple effects in the NFL. As you know, the president said that he is not a fan of players kneeling for the national anthem. He's used more colorful language. We won't use that.
No.
And while no one can really argue with how he worded it, the ensuing protest with hundreds of NFL players kneeling, and then it's still continuing on, a lot of it. Yeah. And then the reaction of that, of you've seen the videos of people burning their jerseys, burning their tickets, vowing to never support the NFL in any way possible. What do you make of it?
Well, I think you're getting paid millions of dollars, just go out and play the stupid game. You're not there to be making political statements. You're there to help $1 billion industry continue to go on and cause more concussions. Yeah. Hey, it's one way to help for science. I mean,
Now let me just challenge you on that. That people bring up Jackie Robinson a lot and saying he went out and he broke the color barrier and stuff, and why not do like that? But what I think is the difference between what's happening now and what's happened then was Jackie Robinson went and played the game. He didn't involve himself, partly because of the orders of the Dodgers GM, Branch Rickey at the time, but he went out and shut people up by going out and getting the Dodgers to the World Series and then eventually winning the World Series. Do you think that my view is right, or do you view the people who correlate Robinson to what's happening now in football?
Yeah, no, what other people are saying, they're just dumb, they're ignorant, they don't know what's going on. Jackie Robinson did what he did. He played the game, he won a World Series, and he was also a very talented player.
Oh, yeah. The difference between how these protests started with Colin Kaepernick and
it's like the only kneeling down was the T-bowing thing.
I find it ironic that players can kneel in protest of a social issue, but they can't kneel down in prayer.
I don't really know what's really going on in everyone's minds, but they just gotta really stop and play the game. Yeah. Like when the Steelers lost to the Bears a couple of weeks ago, my dad was like, good, because they were all, minus the one guy who served 3 times, stayed in the locker room.
But you saw the aftermath of that, where the coach basically said that I was hoping for full participation and I never got it. Basically hanging him out to dry. He had to apologize.
Yeah.
And we've seen stuff in that in football. You have the guy on the Tennessee Titans saying that if people don't want to watch us, go ahead, don't watch us. Okay, bye. And you have the other players continuing, and on the flip side, you have the Big Ben Ben Roethlisberger say, "I got sick after protests, and I don't want to sleep
after that."
Yeah, Denver Broncos the same thing. But I think the biggest thing that sums up what's happened is on Lou. I believe it was either Lou Dobbs. I think it was Lou Dobbs. Yes, had a NFL season ticket holder, and who burned his ticket. And he asked him, "How much was that ticket?" And he said $4,000. Well, he said, "Well, couldn't you sell it to someone else?" And he said, "I don't want to see that seat full in any game." That sums up. People have finally had it with the NFL enforcing some rules and letting others slide. You have the concussions, you said. You have domestic violence, animal abuse. You have Ray Rice, Michael Vick, some whom you could say atone for their sins, others you don't. You have the Giants with Odell Beckham Jr. and that weird dog peeing touchdown celebration.
He needs to
I
go
think
away
that
forever.
Yeah.
And you have Antonio Brown on the Steelers beating up a Gatorade bottle.
Well, then again, every time the Yankees broadcast gets the chance, they go back to Paul O'Neill doing it, so that's nothing new.
But it's just it's a big distraction. I mean, I understand on Brown's part, the frustration for that. He's wide open and you're just not looking up. Which, now to transition, Cam Newton was just dropped from his Dannon sponsorship for making the comment that it's funny seeing a woman reporter talking about routes. And yes, what he said was, I guess, not politically correct, but at the same time, she probably knows absolutely nothing, and these reporters are just going out there trying to find him. Whatever they can get.
Still, it's insensitive. And I read that after that press conference, Newton was confronted on it and actually said much worse things that the person didn't want to put out there. So it is a problem.
Yeah,
that you
shouldn't be saying stuff like that, but at the same time, there's much more interesting things to be talking about. Get a life, actually do reporting.
Yeah. But with the NFL, the closest thing that I could come up with what's happening right now is what happened to baseball after the strike of '94. Now, it's still too early to tell how NFL viewership will affect this whole season and next season in the long run with all this. Mm-hmm. Maybe if they stop protesting, people might come back. Maybe they'll still protest and no one cares. But remember what happened after the '94 strike, how teams got decimated in smaller markets that no one came back, to the point where the Montreal Expos basically collapsed and had to move.
Yes, they had a good team that was going on.
And you see that with now, the teams that moved to LA, that stadium's filling only 30,000 when it could fill much more than that. And that's what they weren't expecting the lower amount, they were expecting the full capacity. This is a big problem the NFL has, and they need to address it. With the ratings are down and keep sliding each week, and it'll be interesting to see what happens during the Super Bowl, because I know not only will that be the biggest stage for any protest, it's also what ads are played. If anything, we saw that Anheuser-Busch considered pulling out of their sponsorship. They've ultimately said that they're going to stay, but you've had other smaller ones. You had regional ones like the Flemington Auto Dealer pull out.
Yeah,
how far do you think this will go until either everyone says that the people are going too far, or the NFL says we got to do something?
I think either it's not going to just blow over, but what's going to happen is either someone's going to give in and Trump will either just stop with his tweets, which probably won't
It
happen.
won't.
But maybe they're not going to be as football directed, or it's just going to boil over, and maybe we don't see the end of this season, or maybe the Super Bowl is the biggest stage of them all here, and someone does something, and then it sets off, and there's no football next year.
Yeah, I'll tell you this: if there's a labor strife that happens in this, combined with the ongoing protests, that's a 1-2 blow that no sports franchise or sport as a whole can recover from, especially if it wipes out the Super Bowl. Now I haven't heard of anything yet happening, but down the line we could see that, honestly. But I can tell
how
you
much that's going to impact the college players.
Oh
too.
yeah. Like I'm going up this weekend to see my old college. It'd be interesting to see how the NFL protests have affected how college players, we've seen some high school reports where 2 players were kicked off for kneeling after being warned not to do it by their coach, and Pee Wee football is saying that players will be kicked off if they kneel. That a lot of people are angry, but I can tell you one thing that will happen during the Super Bowl: no one will care if a Giants player kneels.
Yeah, because what's the saddest and scariest part of all of this is the Jets have a better record than the Giants.
Yeah. And even sadder than that, I'm eating my words for my prediction video, where I said that the Giants would win the East.
Yeah, I mean, they still have 12 games to go, so I mean, maybe 12-game winning streak? I don't know.
We can only hope.
You might be better off starting to learn hockey.
Maybe.
But anyway.
Until then, that's the end of our
Yep.
October special.
Yep.
Tune in next week, next episode for our regularly scheduled coverage. We'll be back together November sometime.
Yeah, maybe Thanksgiving. Be thankful that he's not betting on football.
Yeah.
All right. I will see you, or you'll see me. You'll see me.
Your people
Sunday.
talk to my people.
All right. We'll make a phone call.
Yeah.
All right.
But until then.